farms that rely on rain-fed agriculture that have recorded the lowest harvests yet.
Kwa muda mrefu sasa, miezi kadhaa, huu mwaka wote kumekuwa hakuna mvua. Sasa kumekuwa kukavu sana, watu wako na njaa, kila area, hata watoto wanashindwa na kwenda shule kwa sababu ya njaa.
Farmers are now urging the government to help them reduce their losses.
Sasa tumefika mahali si pazuri hivyo. Kuanga tukipanda mahindi na kupanda sukuma, waru, juu kuna kuanga na mvua. Lakini sasa hakuna mvua, hakuna kitu tumepanda, tumekaa hivyo tukiwa tumetegemea.
They're advising major cities to find alternatives, lest they risk empty vegetable markets in the next coming weeks.
That effectively takes us to matters sports, where 15,500 runners, including 172 elite athletes, have registered to take part in the 2022 edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon that will be held on the 30th of this month. Several roads in Langata area and southern bypass are expected to be closed during the event, which will start and finish at the Uhuru Gardens Langata Road.
Nairobi Traffic Department has announced a schedule of road closures and detours that will redirect traffic to and from the southern bypass to alternate routes between Saturday midnight and 1:30 p.m. on Sunday. Deputy Head Traffic Police Commander Mary Carrier said that they would work to minimize the inconvenience to drivers and pedestrians.
Motorists or vehicles or any other road users, you'll be accessing Dagureti from Kikuyu through the southern bypass. Then we have Karen Karida area, that is Kikuyu through southern bypass. Vehicles and other road users, you'll be able to use the southern bypass, access Kikuyu from Karen through Dagureti Road.
The local organizing committee chairman Peter Gitau said they will work closely with the anti-doping agency of Kenya in a bid to protect the integrity of the event.
We plan to run a very credible marathon. We are working closely with ADAC and with Athletics Kenya to make sure that we use technology and cheap technology at that to track the runners through the race and also do anti-doping tests post the race.
Over 172 elite athletes have registered for a marathon, with winners in the full marathon receiving 2 million shillings each. The event has attracted upcoming athletes including Aspel Kipruto, Bravin Kiprop, Priska Jepto, Shalin Jepkoril, Ezra Kipketer, and Abel Kipsang.
What can I say? See you on Saturday at the Standard Chartered Marathon. And a quick update is that by around 9:30 this morning, we're going to be bringing you the live broadcast from Parliament buildings there as we wait, the discussion and the direction that Parliament is going to take in regard to the CS vetting process that began yesterday. So do keep it right here. As well as a quick update is that the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has formed a judicial commission to investigate the murder of journalist Arshad Sharif. All this and so much more are also updates are available on our website www.kbc.co.ke. Now I hand you over to my colleague Victor Olo to carry on with today's conversations. I'm Regina Manyara and I wish you a pleasant day ahead.
What a moment in his life. All force, all will. Vlaar for the Netherlands. Saved by Romero. And so, Maxi Rodriguez, who scored in Argentina's last World Cup penalty shootout 8 years ago in Berlin. It's in, and Argentina are Rio bound. The South American World Cup has a South American finalist after all. The American arm must roll out its red carpet for its most rivalrous visitors of all.
Tell me, what's the problem? Talk to me.
I want to be left alone. Can you do that?
Leo yuko wapi?
Nishakwambia mimi sijui Leo yuko wapi. Ama nataka mimi nikamtoe wapi?
Siwezi kutumwa na soja. Gatesman, gate collector.
Kwa muonekano wa sura zako, huna furaha.
Nini sasa hii? Hadi ni kiburi gani hicho anionyesha wewe?
Everyone knows that you're a murderer. Oh, you killed Alfonso. Not only that, you tried to kill Mal. My grandfather and me. If something happens to my granddaughter, I will die. This time I'm going to die. Calm down, Raquel. Everything will be fine. Just take it easy.
But where in the world are we going to find Nuria? Tell me.
Answer it calmly.
Yes, but he cannot answer it at this time. Who's this speaking?
Angelica. I just want to talk to him.
Listen, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid he can't take any phone calls right now. And for that matter, he can't receive anyone. But I'll tell him he called, okay? Some other time.
All right, welcome back, and I'm glad you're still with us. All right, let's take a look at what we have on our local dailies. Very quickly, on the front page of the Daily Nation, the headline goes, EACC goes for former Moi aid in 25 billion shillings case. EACC goes for former Moi aid in 25 billion shillings case. Total value, they say that Mr. Kulei was personal assistant to former President Daniel Arap Moi. Now, the story goes that a case was filed before the Environment and Land Court in Mombasa by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, claims that companies associated with former Moi aide Joshua Kulei illegally annexed 10 parcels of land from Moi International Airport in Mombasa that host crucial installations, including part of the runway and military and United Nations support bases. Now, the EACC also seeks to recover 984 million shillings it says was illegally paid to Kulei and his associates as compensation for land compulsorily acquired for the Standard Gauge Railway and the Dongo Kundu Kipevu Road projects. That story is completely fleshed out for you in the Daily Nation. Haggling that led to the rejection of Malonza by MPs. The House Committee approved 23 out of 24 Cabinet Secretary nominees that sent to Parliament by President William Ruto. The rejection of Ms. Malonza, Penina Malonza on competence grounds divided the House, with a section of MPs vowing to save her. Will they? That is the big question. Of course, that will only happen through the amendments of that particular report. Conflicting police reports deepen mystery of journalists' shooting. The body has so far been taken back to Pakistan for the final rites. All right, Ruto ends Uhuru's Kazi Mtaani project, says that the funds will be spent on housing. That is on page 36. And very quickly on the deeper part here of the newspaper, conflicting police reports deepen mystery around journalist's death. It has now emerged that a GSU officer was shot during the incident in Kajiado County on Sunday night. So the newspaper says that in an attempt to reconstruct the events leading to Sharif's shooting, it has also been established that the journalist and Mr. Kuram Ahmed spent Sunday afternoon in Ammo Dump at Quenya, an entertainment complex that also has a shooting range and which is popular among Pakistani gun enthusiasts. It is also located on a feeder road in Kamukuru, which is 85 kilometers south of Nairobi. So there is a story here that you have to look at. Very quickly, MPs, will MPs save Malonza? House starts debate on vetting report. Tourism cabinet nominee is the only one who was not recommended for appointment by House committee. That is what's in the Daily Nation. And the reason we are here is haggling that led to Malonza chop amid split. We have got Azimio lawmakers who wanted all 4 nominees. That is Penina Malonza, Mithika Linturi, Aisha Jumo, and Njuguna Ndungu, dropped by but the Kenya Kwanza side agreed to one name. That is Penina Malonza. And finally, on the Daily Nation, Ruto has failed starving Kenyans, charges Raila opposition chief, accuses new regime of focusing on 2027 general election instead of drought crisis. In a statement, Mr. Odinga censored the government for what he termed as lackluster response to drought and famine in Kenya, even as he reiterated his stand against reintroduction of genetically modified organisms, otherwise known as GMO. That is on the Daily Nation. And on the Standard here, MPs warning shot to Ruto's cabinet. Amid clouds of doubt, all but one of President Ruto's cabinet nominees sailed through committee vetting. By last evening, Penina Malonza was on verge of being saved by the plenary. As debate picks up this morning, focus now shifts to the heavy tasks that await them. That is here. And of course, on the front page, we have got Malonza there and Mithika Linturi, Aisha Jumwa, who also had some hard time during the vetting committee, the vetting process. 40 years in jail for man who killed magistrate court. That's a story again on the front page. Raila's families unclaimed millions. Take a look at that story on page 23. India prides in new UK premier. Again, the new prime minister in the UK as that. Now, fatal errors in the killing of Pakistani journalist. A car reportedly taken from a parking bay in a Pakistani estate, and which is at the center of investigations into the killing of a Pakistani journalist, was not stolen as earlier believed. Take a look at that story. On to the front page of the Star newspaper. Why Kalonzo turned down Ruto's job offer. Why Kalonzo turned down Ruto's job offer. Allies says that former Vice President putting house in order, focusing on 2027 presidential bid. We had this discussion here on Monday, and here it is now. With the Speaker of the County Assembly of Kitui, who said that it's all system go for 2027. Cops in Pakistani Ashad shooting are disarmed. A team of police officers allegedly involved in the fatal shooting of Pakistan journalist Arshad Sharif surrendered their weapons as part of investigations into his death. Now, the investigating team also wants to establish if any other shooter was involved. And yeah, that is what's on the front page. And finally, why 3 Ruto picks, CS picks are on verge of rejection. Pretty much what's on the front page of the Daily Nation and the Standard, as well as now the Star. And finally, People Daily. High costs, Ruto asks for 1 year. President pleads for more time to tame rising inflation, appearing to change tune on his pre-election pledge to ensure the prices of food go down in 100 days. He was speaking yesterday in Langata constituency, and he said that he needs at least 1 year to streamline everything in his government. Raila falls state's war on hunger again, something captured there on the Standard. Your sins are forgiven, Ronaldo told. Okay. Will MPs vote for Penina to become next tourism CS? Vetting team led by Speaker Wetangula has proposed that she be rejected, but mood in the House was different ahead of vote today. That story is captured there very in details for you. Legislators shoot down Malonza CS nominee call. A report which was tabled by Majority Leader, that is Kimani Chungwa, in Parliament. And we are waiting to see how that is going to pan out today, now that they still have a sitting today, whether an amendment is going to be made to the report or to be rejected in totality. Again, finally here, mystery deepens in Pakistani journalist roadblock murder. A story covered in almost all the local dailies here. Police report says that a GSU officer also sustained a bullet injury at the makeshift roadblock. That is, according to the report, the gentleman called Mutuku and another officer were acting on a tip-off from a certain officer that a vehicle KDJ 700F said to have been involved in an abduction case had been sighted along that route. However, when the vehicle approached the roadblock at around 20 hours, its occupants defied orders to stop and instead opened fire that led the officers injured in the rest. That is on the front page. That is what we have on the local dailies. And I just want us to take a look very quickly. The big story here is all about Malonza. And in studio, I have got Member of Parliament of Kangema, Honorable Peter Kihungi, who is joining me in studio. Mheshimiwa, welcome to the program. Karibu.
Okay, thank you very much.
Kangema, how is Kangema?
Kangema is good. It's nice. I've been there throughout the recess. We had a 1 week recess.
Yes.
And I have been going around the schools. Therefore, I've interacted with almost the whole constituency. Kangema is good. We are doing well. And everything is good.
Right.
Unless there's a lot of... we expected some rain around October. But we are waiting for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you look at the front page of the Standard, it's more or less the same as what we have on... all these are local dailies. It's all about Malonza here on these local dailies. And there is one thing that is standing out, that the legislators are planning to save her.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not familiarized with Malonza as a person.
Yes.
But the mood of the House as per yesterday is that they have a feeling of saving her. Because mostly in the appointment committee mandate, mostly is to look on issues of integrity and whether the candidate has satisfied some of the requirement that are called upon for somebody to be a CS. Therefore, when the issues to do with how a person is performing, you see, the appointment committee is not supposed to do an interview. Yeah, they ask mostly, vetting is different from interview.
Yeah.
Because an interview is whereby your capacity on how you'll be able to perform in your duties mostly is being, you question on how a person will perform on an interview. But on vetting, mostly they look on some issues to do with Chapter 6, whether somebody is qualified, whether a person has qualified on the status that has been put by the Constitution for somebody to be a CS. But mostly what the appointing authority, mostly the president or the governor who is doing the appointment, they usually charge the team or the people they are appointing to maybe an interview through some bodies or themselves personally. But therefore, when the committee now brings a report that they have rejected Malonza, but in their report, they say that Malonza has qualified mostly on issues to be Chapter 6, Maroza, they say has been a deputy governor. They clearly say that she has performed well. They say that Maroza has not been charged in any court of law. Therefore, those are the criteria mostly they are supposed to look on.
Yes.
Therefore, she satisfies everything. By the end of the report, they say that they have rejected her.
Yes.
Therefore, somehow it seems as if did not clearly come out clearly why Maroza was not did not meet the criteria to be a CS. Therefore, according to the members, I think members are feeling they are ready to save her.
Yeah.
One of the areas they can save her maybe is somebody to move a motion of amendment to the report, and so that they can now remove the aspect on the report whereby she is called upon to be rejected. The other area is during the voting, members to reject the committee report on reject Maroza, and they vote her. They reject the committee recommendations.
Yes.
Therefore, on the others, the other members, I think 21, will vote yes, mostly members for Kenya Kwanza. But for Maroza, we'll vote reject. Because now, when we vote reject, now we'll have rejected the report, committee report.
Yes.
And then I think Maroza will have sailed through. Yeah.
Mheshimiwa, when you look at all the requirements that was needed and required for a person to be, suitable for that position, when you look at that, the only problem is that, according to the report, is that the nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife, and Heritage. This is key. And it touches directly on the ministry that she was going to handle. Well, whereas you are qualified to, in all the facets of the requirement needed by the committee, but the administrative knowledge of that docket you're handling is quite crucial.
Now, what happens, mostly on the CS, the CS is a manager. And you can see like the former CS for transport, Mr. Masharia, who ran the transport docket in a very, he performed a bit, he did perform in the docket of transport. But the qualifications for Macharia is accounting, is finance.
Yes.
And when Macharia was taken to health, I think also he couldn't maybe be able to perform a bit well. Therefore, for Maroza, mostly a CS is should have the management character, technicalities, or he should be a manager.
Yes.
Therefore, he has people under his docket who will be now professionally right. Maybe the PS. The PS, the principal secretary, is the person who is supposed now to be technically right on the issues to do with the ministry. They have directors. They have the parastatals under the ministry. Therefore, it is not the mandate of the CS that should have the extreme knowledge.
Yeah.
The extreme knowledge to do with the docket that the person is taking. The only character that is extremely important for the CS is to be a manager.
Yes.
A person who can be able to coordinate the ministry and the technical people around the ministry for them to perform. Like now, you see, like Joroge has been in energy. But when some members resigned, he was taken to water.
Yes.
And Macharia was the CS water. If you could have interviewed Macharia, James Macharia, the transport CS,
yes,
on his capacity to do with water, he knows very little about water.
Or even, for example, Kimchuma Murkomen, who is
he's a lawyer
by profession, he's going to chair the roads department. Exactly.
And therefore, because what happens is that mostly whenever people get to those, they panic. Even as we find ourselves in such a nature. And therefore, you might find maybe like the rest who had done their homework a lot. But that doesn't mean that they are professionals in those dockets.
Yes.
It's only that they prepared well. But for her, in the issue of being a manager, it should be now measured on how she performed when she was a deputy governor. And you see now they were able to work with the governor for Kitui all along. Therefore, there are no issues that has been raised on her management during the tenure as a deputy governor.
What is your personal view on her performance and her suitability?
My personal view is that, she didn't perform well in the interview, in the panel. But one thing I know, she might be one of the best CS. She might be one of the best CS because you might find that she is somebody maybe who is a team worker, which is one of the best characters. And therefore she might be able to coordinate the people who are in the ministry, who has the technical part of it, and they might deliver very well. Therefore, for me, I think the judgment on how she performs is not an issue maybe to reject her. I think the issues of past background life of her, how she has been performing and the rest, that could be the basis they could have now considered. But the few hours that she appeared in that committee cannot be the judgment that they could make and say they have rejected her as a CS.
Is her case quite different from the rest of the likes of Aisha Jumwa, Linturi, Moses Kuria, who even during the vetting process also had some questionable, background?
I think for Maloza, there was no issue that were raised on her character.
Absolutely not.
There were no issues that were raised on Maloza. Now we have the issue of Linturi. Linturi, they have issues maybe to court cases, and Aisha Jumwa. And the only area that they are safe is that they have not been judged. The cases has not been concluded. Therefore, I think we should not also conclude that the judgment will be against them. But for Maloza, his case was a bit different from them. Because it's true, they have the cases that are in court. But now they say that they cannot prove them guilty until they have been proved guilty by the court. Therefore, but the challenge on their side could have been much bigger than the challenge that Maloza is going ahead. Therefore, Lunturi, I know they have their own challenges. There is a minority report from the Azimio team. The Azimio team, there is, I think, a number of members who wrote a minority report against Aisha Jumwa and against Lunturi. But I think for them, they still go through because they have not been convicted by the court of law. It's only that they have a court case that is ongoing.
This will somehow look like steps back on the president's move to form his cabinet, I would imagine.
It's a step back. And somehow we might blame the committee team from Kenya Kwanza because I think they have brought something that I think was not necessary. It was not necessary to have the issue of Maloza. Maloza is just a diversionary issue, but I think because they are running, most of them are new, like maybe even the leader of majority and whatever, I think they are still running. You see, sometimes they find themselves overwhelmed by the pressures across the board. But I think we try to the best we can. We cannot afford to lose a nominee. It will open a Pandora's box that will affect even the whole process of the president.
Mheshimiwa, along these corridors, we had some discussion with some of my friends, and they were talking about the Ministry of Tourism. Ministry of Tourism, for example, by all means necessary, is the only way that a person can market a country. All right? So some would argue that perhaps the president would have considered someone who is a sector player directly involved in the industry, in tourism, either pick someone who has been in the industry for some time to head that docket. Would you have the same idea or opinion?
I think it might be a figure that maybe could show the competence and maybe where we are going on the ministry. But I think also the president might now go for a PS who is a player, who will be able now to have the face of tourism, who is now technically right on the issues to do with the tourism. But therefore, we might also not rule out maybe Maloza also has there must be the wisdom that they made the president about Maloza on the ministry. Therefore, I think Maloza is also up to the game according to the president because he's the one who appointed her. But as you are putting it, I know the PS. The PS might be somebody who will show clearly the face of tourism because we need to work on tourism a lot. Because as a country, for the economy to grow,
foreign exchange.
For any economy to grow, is the foreign earning is one of the critical areas that we must target as a government. And therefore, I think the president in his wisdom, I know he might be planning to work out maybe for a PS who now have the technical part of it.
What do you think, what next for the House?
Today we are going to the House. We'll debate maybe for some time, then to voting. I've seen some members who are saying they will bring a motion of amendment. Amendment may be to remove the part, the part of the report which says reject Marosa, and so that it can be included with the rest. I don't know whether it will sail through or it will be the easier route. The other route is now voting. Voting is a bit tricky because members might say they will vote for her, then when we get to voting, you find now they have their own interest. You see, the biggest problem is that immediately now you open that route, that somebody will miss the position. Everybody is robbing now to be appointed. You see now, those who are robbing to be appointed in her place, we don't know what they are doing maybe in the process. Therefore, I guess if an amendment motion is brought to amend the report, that can be safer for Marosa. The other area is voting. Members might vote to reject the report that she be rejected. It might save her. But that is a very risky place because you might find there is a secret ballot. You don't know how somebody might do. But I'm praying, I'm feeling for her. I wish we can be able to save her. And requesting the members, I don't see the sense out of a whole number without clear. If Marosa was clearly had an issue, it may be an issue to do with integrity, the issue to do with academics, the issue to do with court cases, qualifications. I think we could be comfortably saying that we don't need to save her. But now, when it seems as if maybe she was excluded, maybe because of, I don't know. I don't know what informed them. Therefore, I wish members can be able to save her. But we'll try our best. For me, I'll be trying to save her.
How are you going to vote? How are you going to vote? How are you going to vote? You are going to vote?
No, me, I reject the part of Marosa. I'll reject and I'll support her.
No problem.
She can be included in the ministry.
Let's take a break, Mheshimiwa. When we come back, I still want us to talk more about that. And what is your dream for Kangema? That's much more when we come back. We are still here discussing what's happening in Parliament today. We'll be right back after this.
The world's biggest sporting event is here with us. The FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. KBC Television will air live 28 selected matches, while radio will beam live all the 64 matches. We would like to bring to the attention of the public that KBC is the only station that has exclusive 2022 FIFA World Cup free-to-air FTA broadcast rights for both TV and radio in the Kenya territory, and no other media outlet. Therefore, catch all the FIFA World Cup action live and exclusive on KBC TV and radio. KBC is indeed your true sports partner.
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
And welcome back now. Still in studio with Mheshimiwa Peter Kihungi, who is a member of parliament of Kangema constituency. It's a big name, I repeat, it's a big name. You are in some big shoes. When you talk of Kangema, you speak of big people. All right, so Mheshimiwa, the president yesterday said in Langata that he needs at least 1 year to streamline certain things in government. I would imagine that that's how it's supposed to be, because 1 is a very small time for a transition kind of government, for him to put his house in order. We are now 2 months in. We don't have a cabinet yet. We are 2 months in. He's trying to restructure his cabinet, have things going, moving from the last regime to this one. 1 year? Too short? Too long?
Okay. I think 1 year is enough, because I knew 100 days is not possible to make much difference, because first of all he must manage on issues of revenue, whereby he must work on revenue collection, and also he must also work on issue of management of the expenditure, the government expenditure. And that's why maybe he will start first of all to do a supplementary budget.
Yes.
Whereby he's saying he'll work on cutting some cost, cutting on some expenditure to say maybe around 300 billion. And also, I know he's targeting mostly on issue to do lowering the cost of food stuff, mostly the cost of hunger.
Yeah.
That's why he's targeting maybe around whereby he has said maybe in the next 1 year he will be able to have manage the cost of hunger and the rest. And what Kenya being an agricultural country,
right?
We have not invested well as the previous government has not been investing a lot to see how we can be able to be self-sustaining on food stuff, because we don't need to import maize. We need to help our farmers to produce more, so that they can have enough for them, and also we can be able to buy from farmers at a lower price. And that's why he's working on subsidy. Therefore, his plan, I know, is that the investment he's putting on farmers by the end of 1 year, most of the investment would have now, they will have started attaining results. Therefore, I think in 100 days, his target is that he will have a good time to be able to manage and also seal some of the loopholes that has been the government has been losing a lot of money, because also the cost of living also is directly proportional to the expenditure which are not controlled in the government. Therefore, in the next 1 year, I believe the president will have now managed to manage some of the costs, to manage some of the areas. You see, like in the petroleum, there are a lot of people who are in those business, like this. The energy production which are done at the the oil.
Yes.
This production by oil, they invest a lot of money. And I think the president is now looking at areas whereby he can be able also to bypass so that he can minimize even the cost of electricity and whatever, so that he can be able now to manage production. Therefore, within 1 year, I think the president means it, and I pray that we'll jointly work together with him. We'll also help him in parliament on registrations that will be able to assist him also to be able to manage some of those areas whereby there are a lot of loopholes where money is being wasted, which could be used maybe to help.
And it'll have to take a lot of work because as we speak, report has it that some middlemen are already in the North Rift because it's now harvesting season. So when you can imagine if you clear such kind of bottlenecks, the kind of production that the country would have.
That's true. Therefore, 1 year, I think that's reasonable because 100 days was not possible. Could not have managed. And I think in 100 days, in 1 year, I know he'll be able to have introduced reduce the cost of unga, the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel, and by that I know everything now will be soberized. Therefore, maybe we give him 1 year, and I know he's serious on it, and he's working on it, and he's a worker. He's a person who works.
And you're part of Kenya Kwanza. We'll hold you to account. Kenyans will hold you to account.
I know.
Mheshimiwa, let's come back to Kangema directly. This is your area of jurisdiction. What is your biggest dream for that constituency?
Okay, thank you very much. Mine is that I'm planning to work for Kangema, residents, and I'm working on infrastructure a lot. There are infrastructure which are ongoing, and also personally I'm working and introducing some of the new areas, whereby mostly in Kangema town I'm working to start working on feeder roads around the town at Kura. We are negotiating with Kura, and I think they are comfortably working on a plan whereby they can include Kangema as part of the infrastructure area. Though I know Kura mostly work with municipalities, but we are moving ahead and we are consulting with them, and I think they are agreeing to work with us. I'm working on Mau Mau. Mau Mau has a lot of infrastructure which are going in my place, which I am following up with them, so that we can be able to finish up the works. I'm also working on water. I've been a director in Earth Water. We are consulting with the ministry. I'm lucky that the president gave us a minister from Moranga on Naboales. We are consulting with her to see how we can be able to finish some of the projects that were started by the former regime. I'm also working on education. I'm seriously working on education. Although means that during this recess, I've managed to walk around all the schools, the primary schools and day schools. I've visited every school. One of the reasons why I wanted to visit the school is, first of all, to understand the infrastructure status, so that whenever we are in a committee and I'm being updated on issues to do with the development of a school, I cannot be able to reason or negotiate without having the knowledge. Therefore, it has been a tedious. I've walked around the schools and I'll be able to start supporting them. I'm also working on a plan whereby I'll be able to see whether I can be able to be giving every child who is in day school bursaries without now the issue of vetting, so that we can be able to try to build our day schools.
Parliament voted or debated on the feeding program. That is quite essential.
It's extremely essential because the economy is hitting on our people. And most of our students are going to school hungry. Therefore, as through our kit, we can be able to be supporting our children. Even if maybe he doesn't be able to get food from home, at least he can have lunch. At the kit of CDM and the government. Therefore, we'll be working mostly to build a lot of infrastructure on day schools. They are doing very well because whenever you find a day school is taking around 20 students to university, that's it gives confidence to our parents that they can be able to school at a day school and be able even to perform, because now whenever it comes to boarding, the cost now is becoming exorbitantly very high.
Let's talk about agriculture in Kangema.
Agriculture in Kangema, are working very much on it, and therefore we have a team whereby I'm lobbying very much on how we can be able, the reforms that are going on, so that we can be able to understand on the process the farmers are going through on issues to do from production up to marketing. We are also working on coffee. We are working on coffee because there are amendments that Munya did, and we are challenging some of the regulations that he has done, because the major problem on coffee is whereby the farmer is not allowed to get to marketing.
Direct.
Direct.
There has to be a middleman.
There has to be a middleman. And that's what Munya has created again. And therefore, there is a regulation that was supposed to come to Parliament, and we are fighting it extremely. The task force that the former president had introduced, the task force to do with coffee, they had a very good, they had brought very good regulations, whereby a farmer can be able to, or a cooperative, can be able to have an access up to the market.
Exactly.
But that's what now they are directly. But that's now what Munya introduced a new regulation that's now challenging that. So that the middlemen who are usually the former, the legit, those people who have been in the market on issues of marketing our coffee, those are the people he has still introduced.
Exactly.
Therefore, at the AFA.
Yes.
Therefore, for us, we are working now to introduce whereby the Minister of Finance at the CMA, whereby it can be able to regulate that a farmer, whenever a cooperative society gets a market, maybe in the US, they can be able to deal with them directly without going through the middleman.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are working on coffee, and also I'm working on a program whereby I will be able to introduce bananas in the lower part of Kangema. That's mostly in schools.
Yes.
So that it can be able also to support on issue of food security in our schools. Therefore, we are working with the Hub Irrigation Project in Nyajege, I work together with them so that we can be able to work out and see how maybe we can be able to introduce new food stuff in the parts of Lower Kagema. Therefore, on issues of tea, that's an area whereby I'm extremely expert. We are following up on regulations. We are following up on how our farmers are being paid. We are following up also on taxes that are vested on our tea farmers, which are around 42 taxes. We want to regulate those taxes.
42, that's a lot.
Yeah. They are a lot. Nobody has been, anybody who wants a tax, we used to go to tea farmers. We want to see how we can be able now to understand what are these taxes, which are they necessary, because also there are taxes which are necessary, but there are taxes whereby you find like NEMA, you find like KEBS, every parastatal is moving to a tea farmer. Therefore, you must manage those taxes. On issues to do with coffee, we are working together with the county government through the governor, and also working together with the task force. We have sat with the task force.
Yes.
We want the regulations that the task force had proposed. That was under the public participation that they did through the farmers. That's the regulation we want to remain.
Yes.
But now it was amended. Now they brought now a regulation that now introduces middlemen. And also will be able to work out with farmers. I'm introducing irrigation projects so that we can be able, at the mostly rural part of Kangema, we can be able to be food stable.
You have 5 years mandate with people of Kangema. In 30 seconds, will you deliver?
Mine is to tell the Kagema residents I'm prepared to deliver, and seriously I have to deliver because they have very high hope on me. I've been in this business of politics. I've been a councillor, I've been an MCA, and therefore I'm not new to the task that they have put on me. Therefore, I'm seriously devoted and committed to work for them, and I'm promising them that I will seriously deliver for them. And I'll seriously try the best I can through the help of God to make them happy.
Mheshimiwa, thank you so much. Promise me you'll be back on the show.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Karibu sana. That is Peter Kihungi, MP of Kangema constituency. It was a quick fire, and he said that the people of Kangema should have trust in him. Agriculture, education is part of key agenda that is going to make sure that he's going to deliver for the people of Kangema. All right, you are rushing to Parliament? Because there's a sitting. All right, okay, we'll let you attend that plenary. All right, we are taking a break. We are not yet done with GMK. We have got so much more after this. Stick around. Welcome back. Now, the effects of drought in the country is affecting each and every person from the northern part of Kenya to coast to western, up to here in the Nairobi Central Business District. Everybody's feeling the heat of hunger. But even that, there is that aspect of human rights. How is drought and human rights connected? Having food is a human right. But to a situation where now there is none, human rights is at stake. And that is why I have got Commissioner of Kenya Commission on Human Rights, Honorable Sarah Bunaya, to help us talk about issues with the drought and human rights. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Karibu sana. The issue of drought and human rights. Let's start where we should. It's a big problem right now, but it all boils down to the effects of climate change.
Okay.
Does that worry you?
Yeah, it does. It is actually an effect of climate change,
yes,
which is a global phenomena,
yes,
that is being experienced throughout the world. And as a country, we need to prepare seriously, because it's not an issue of, it's not like the usual drought we are getting. The severity has increased,
yes,
and the impact has also increased. And as it is, it's not only about food, it's about the whole of livelihood for those
at stake. Exactly.
Yes, everything else is at stake. Anything on human rights, health, education, food security, right to water, all the rights actually overall are being affected unless emergency interventions are undertaken. Yes.
You work with this commission,
yeah,
and I'm so sure the commission has traversed the country.
Yes.
Kindly give me a picture of how the situation is. Probably for us here in Nairobi in the studio, we might not get 100% feel of what the situation is on the ground.
Yes.
What is the correct picture?
Okay.
Ukienda mashinani, what they say kwa ground vitu ni different.
Yes. Yes, for my commission,
yes,
Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, has actually done quite a number of visits to the affected areas. And personally, I've been to Marsabit about a week or two ago, where I was lucky enough to attend the county emergency response committee that is dealing with that. And the whole of the Asal area, especially,
yes,
I think the situation is serious and it's very, very bad. And every aspect is across all sectors, and all the rights are violated. Yes, and I feel the government, because even in the beginning, the drought has become, cyclic, and it's been there. Yeah. We should have had better planning. Yeah.
Better planning, because when you talk of better planning, that again boils down to us as Kenyans.
Yes.
Because right now it's a season, it's a hot season.
Yes.
And some would argue that it's the worst in some areas in 40 years.
Yes.
But let's go specifically to Marsabit.
Yes.
A number of students or pupils are not going to school right now.
Yes.
How is KNHR going to make sure that this is completely changed, even though the drought is still here with us?
Yes. Yes, we can't look at education in isolation.
Exactly.
These are the same families that cannot afford food. They're the same ones who have migrated because they lost their livelihood, where they used to practice pastoralism. They have completely lost their herds, and they have moved away from their traditional areas of where they were taking care of their livelihood.
Yes.
They have no access to health care, so there's no water. So that actually uproots the whole family, including the school child.
Yeah.
And especially in schools, there has been no supply of food ration to the schools. So one factor that was keeping children in school was food. Yeah, especially for the nursery school, the school feeding program.
Yes.
That doesn't exist now from our assessment. But partners have come in, and through different interventions, they have tried to assist.
Has this changed any situation?
No, the situation is too bad. I mean, it's very serious. Most of the schools, because of prior to this drought, there has been conflict in Marsabit, as we all know.
Exactly.
We also had the locust invasion in many parts of our country. And in the pastoralist areas, the pasture was completely destroyed. And the environment itself was completely affected. So school children actually, and other vulnerable groups like the elderly, the disabled, expectant mothers, the under fives, especially because of the nutritional factors, having bigger challenges among others. Yes.
But it would mean that now community-based organizations are now coming in at this particular point to avert the situation. But what is the government's role, the national government? What is the national government's intervention to this effect?
Yeah, national government has a bigger responsibility, and through the office of the president, they have the special unit that deals with the disasters and the issues like drought. And I think that this time the new government has taken up the challenge, and they have instructed the county government, both at through the governor's office and the county commissioner. They have been instructed actually to work hand in hand and convene all the other stakeholders so that they have one basket from which they'll intervene, setting priorities, and as well as avoiding overlap in the activities, and also assessing household needs as they respond, so that at least households now can be supported adequately. But the challenge here now is the integrity of the intervention.
Yes.
That we haven't seen yet, but the planning process has gone on very well.
Yeah.
We also sit on the county steering group that is working on the disaster or the drought issue. So the bigger challenge now is the integrity of the implementation of the activities that have been planned. And part of that is cash transfer to affected communities. Literally everybody is affected because there is the pastoralist community, there is the urban poor population.
Exactly.
So everybody is affected. And the issue of food relief that used to be traditionally put in place now, because of the many factors that is involved, that most of the communities feel that most of the foods do not get to the site and to the relevant people, so they would prefer cash transfer.
Yes,
because the needs are also varied.
Because I think a week ago, some of the communities or some of the leaders talked of cash transfer as opposed to food distribution.
Yes.
But the issue is now the frequency of the cash transfer. There's no stability in that.
Yes.
You'd find that it would come in a week, it would take another 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
There is no, it's unpredictable.
Yes, it is.
Have you addressed this?
Yes, in the meetings which the county government in Marsabit have had.
Yes.
Yeah, they have said let's assess monthly family household needs, and all the stakeholders now should partner and ensure there is no gap, there is no overlap, and the frequency also is improved. Unlike before, where some groups were giving 2,500, some were giving 3,000. So an estimate of, let's say, 20,000 as being an average need per family should be sustained. That was what was agreed upon. Whether the similar amount of resource can be mobilized or not is another issue.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we said if you are giving 2,500 in 3 months, it doesn't help at all.
That's a lot. That's little.
Yes.
That's little
so
based on the
it's
situation
peanut
on the ground.
Yes. Yeah. So we said let's at least have average household need and sustain it for the next 6 months, which is considered to be a red alert. Yes, well, before the next rain hopefully comes.
Tell us.
Yes.
From the media reports, or even from the ground.
Yeah.
We are told that people are now forced to consume wild fruits.
Yes.
Which is quite detrimental to our health.
Yes.
How bad is the situation? In terms of food relief, the president released a consignment a few weeks ago.
Yes.
That has since stopped.
Yes.
So what is the next step forward now?
Yes, I think the wild fruit you are talking about.
Yes.
Those are areas that are predominantly pastoralist, and the ecosystem is desert situation. So for those who can get the wild fruit, they're even lucky. because I don't know how the wild fruit can even be available to them. Because yes, a few plants that are resistant to drought can come up, but that is negligible. It's not something to be relied upon. So the logistics involved in transporting this food relief, the administration of the process, those are all very offering big challenges. So, and the consistency as well, and also the quality of food. Most of the under fives, the expectant mothers, the nursing mothers, you give out maize, which is just one class of food, one group of, offers the one nutrient, that is starch. They lack protein, they lack vitamins. So malnutrition is also a major issue because they don't have the many types of food groups that they are supposed to have. So it's inadequate. There is no balance in nutritional value.
I want to take a break, but when we come back, I would like us to connect the two. How drought and human rights are connected, and one is violating the other. And as a commission, what is your core mandate at this particular time specifically to help the needy and even these vulnerable people, at least to have their lives saved during this trying moment? Commissioner, let's take a break, and when we come back, we still have got so much more after this.
You have been married for 300 years and you're still not pregnant. Shouldn't I be concerned?
When I return, I'll have someone who can restore your brother's health.
Thank you, my lord.
It's been a while since I've had that dream. What's going on?
Is there any way to speed up Maz's recovery?
Are you telling me you want him to wake up sooner?
If you wish to pay me a formal visit again, you need to bathe, pray, and burn incense for 3 days, and you need to kneel and kowtow for 9 times.
The legends and familiar chants will grace KBC once again. Don't miss the
Kakamega mpo! Stesheni uipendayo Ingo FM inakuletea road show ya mwaka katika kaunti ya Kakamega, Ijumaa tarehe 4 na Jumamosi tarehe 5 Novemba. Tarehe 4 Ijumaa tunazuru Mumias, Matungu, Shianda, Navaholo, Malava, kambi ya Mwanza, Lurambi, na tarehe 5 Jumamosi tukutane pale Kakamega, Hayega, Malinya, Bukura, Huisero, Mulwanda, Sabatia, Ekero na Mumias Town. Kutakuwa na vichekesho na burdan dosha. Pia utakutana na kikosi kizima cha watangazaji na waenzi wa Ingo FM. Usikose.
Radio Ingo, ingini ya Mwitala.
Kakamega na yefu bwana.
and welcome back. Now we are still talking matters to do with the drought and the situation in the country, and in studio I have got Honorable Sarah Bonaya, who is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Now, let's talk about the issue of drought and human rights. How are these two joined? How are they connected?
Okay, thank you, Victor. I think these two issues are both very broad in nature. Human right is also very broad. It's cross-cutting in all sectors, because the Constitution guarantees all Kenyans right to everything in the Constitution. So right to food, right to shelter, right to education, right to justice, right to economic right. Article 43 of the Constitution guarantees you of so many rights, especially for the vulnerable groups who cannot safeguard their own rights, and who depends on duty bearers and those responsible for governance and provision of quality care and services. So human rights, I've said, is very broad, and the impact of drought is also very broad. We cannot tie it to education, we cannot tie it to health, we cannot tie it to housing. It covers the whole human livelihood. It covers all aspects of an individual, because in that situation you lose your livelihood, others even lose their life. And right now in those areas which are deeply affected, there is a loss of life. I know the media has not highlighted that, but because of nutritional deficiencies, people are dying of preventable causes. Very minor issues are bringing death, things like malaria, common cold. Without proper nutrition, you are brought down very easily. So though we are not tying it to drought directly, that people have died of hunger, people are dying of very minor causes, especially the elderly, pregnant women, the under 5. So health is affected. Education, families have been displaced. Families have no income. Families, are moving all over looking for pasture and livelihood elsewhere. And they have to move with their children, meaning they are removed out of school. For those in boarding, we don't have adequate facilitation for them to remain. I'm told ministries of education have not, or the relevant partners have not given adequate food. So children have been noted, especially the ECD, the nursery school ones. If there is no food, then they just go back home. Some can't even walk to school because of malnutrition. And the health risks involved. So the housing, like for Marsabit, if you can remember, we had serious conflict where communities were displaced. The same communities who are displaced have not been resettled. So compounding the impact of conflict, now we have the impact of drought. And it becomes a multiple tragedy.
This the entire northern region.
Yes, it becomes, because they have always had the twin disasters of conflict and drought going hand in hand. So they have really been affected. And Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, being one of the independent commissions established under the 2010 Constitution, has a broad mandate of promoting and protecting human rights in the country. And our role is not implementation, but our role directly implementing, through interventions like giving food and stuff. But our role is mainly advocacy, training to the relevant agencies, both government and private sector. And we protect human rights through maybe public interest litigation, where we go to court on behalf of communities. And we also monitor compliance of human rights through organization in terms of equity in employment, in opportunities, and inclusivity. We ensure that human rights, labor rights, all these rights, we ensure that there's compliance.
And all these things all these mandates that under Kenya Commission on Human Rights,
yes,
at this particular point, they are all been affected.
Yes, all the rights have been affected. For the communities that are affected, all their rights have been compromised, and it is the responsibility of the government to have done proper assessment,
yes,
mitigating the I call it disaster.
Yes.
Then prepare to handle that disaster, give adequate response, and handle the recovery process of trying to get the community to their normalcy. But we hope the committees that has been entrusted with the responsibility will do due process, and they will be supported by all the stakeholders and partners, because the problem is bigger than what we are seeing actually.
Yeah.
It's affecting even wildlife, animals, animal feeds. As we talk of human feed and human needs, the animals are also equally affected, and they are the source of revenue that was sustaining the community.
Yes. Even as that is happening, you can even take a look at the pictures you see on the television.
Yes.
The situation is that bad.
Yes.
The dry landscape, human and wildlife is completely affected. But as a commission, what is now your immediate role at this particular point, and probably the long term?
Yes. As a commission, our immediate role, as I've told you, we have actually anchored ourselves into the planning process of the interventions that partners are putting in place.
Yes.
And we are ensuring that especially the vulnerable communities are getting the support they require, not from our pockets, but not from our institution, but from the basket that has been put in place. And our role is also to engage partners and duty bearers. Where we see there is a gap, we write to them. We have the reporting obligation, both to the national and international community. So we engage partners and duty bearers where we feel there are gaps. And where there are policy gaps also, we intervene to ensure there is that gap is actually, the policy gaps are catered for, the legislative gaps are catered for, so that we are not looking just at this season. Yeah, we look, we know we have a vision to ensure all sectors are well prepared, and they are not, the people are not marginalized as they have always been done, because as you know, this drought has been cycling. And in the last regime, the drought has been listed as a disaster.
Yes.
It was declared as a national disaster. The current regime hasn't done that.
Yeah,
so we are not yet. We don't understand why. Lives are being lost, livelihoods are being lost, and there's a big challenge for the whole of the north, and both in the urban and the rural setup. So we urge the government actually to declare drought as a national disaster as urgently, because so many rights are being violated. Plus also coming in with the necessary support to kickstart all the sectors that have been affected.
But Commissioner, when you look at, you've correctly put it, but there's aspect of policy framework and action.
Yes.
What is the missing gap?
Yeah, we have very many policies that are taking, just on our shelves.
Yes.
We have some of the most beautiful.
But now the action bit of it is now where the problem is.
Yes, so I am saying that we have a lot of policy, many policies on so many sectors.
Exactly.
But implementation and the integrity of the implementation is the issue.
Yes.
And partly we all know the level of corruption that has been experienced in our management and governance.
Yeah.
So that's an area where we need to tackle and be able to bridge the gap, because we have a lot of pilferage of finances, and like even in relief effort, there's a lot that goes on in the logistics, in the administration, in distribution. So there's a lot of gaps in integrity, and as far as the implementation process is concerned. So we need a serious monitoring process to ensure that the needy people get what they are entitled to be able to save life. Yeah, so we are talking about the deaths of livestock. Actually, the red alert that we have in the next 6 months, I hope that human life will not
There is that proposal of an offtake.
Yes.
Is it happening? Animal offtake, because now everything is almost now going at a great price.
Yes. Everything, actually what happens right now, most of the animals that have survived are pushed, of course, at the risk of conflict. Yeah. Some are moved across the borders to where they think there is still some few pasture. So to access that is not that easy. Yeah. The ones that are left around the villages, they are very weak. So I don't know whether it will even give any nutritional value. But yes, so that is one alternative that can be done. Yes. But it should have been done far much earlier. Because the monitoring process through the institutions that does drought monitoring has not given this warning now. It gave some time back.
Commissioner, I would imagine that your office must be a busy office right now.
Yes. Yes, we are busy. Because as I've told you, we cover almost all sectors. Yes. Of course, we prioritize.
The northern part of Kenya, largely.
Yes. So we were busy with the conflict, and we ran and we intervened. We went to the necessary offices, we engaged, we said this is against human rights, it shouldn't be happening. Of course, interventions were put in place. Yeah. Of course, we were not the only ones, but we gave our push, and we made the relevant statements and engaged the relevant offices, and interventions were put in place, and peace and stability has been restored. But the drought menace now is becoming a bigger challenge. People have no energy to fight anymore, but yeah, the survival of human is
Commissioner,
now
when you look at the SDGs,
yes.
we have, healthcare,
yes.
Universal healthcare,
yes.
food security, etc., etc.
Yes.
Part of SDG.
Yes.
But as we are, they are under serious threat because of the drought.
Yes.
Now, based on that,
yes.
we have rains coming soon.
Yes.
And as a nation, we'll always talk about, let's do, rain preservation, rainwater, let's do this and that. Yes. But nothing happens.
Yes.
At what point will you now say as a country that, you know what, enough is enough, we have to take action for the next season?
Yes. Yes, as a country, I think we have come a long way in matters of human rights. You remember the days when we didn't have, people were just being beaten, things were happening. Now social media, yes. Enlightened population, so much has improved. Let's give ourselves credit where it is deserved.
And as a commission as well.
Yes,
really fought for that.
Yes, so as a commission, our job is quite expansive, and we have powers to summon government officials or even other officials where we feel they have not done their job the way they should.
Violated.
Yes, those who are violated. We are the only government institution that takes government to court using government lawyers. We thank our government for that space.
Okay.
So like police brutality, neglect and abuse in healthcare and all that. And right now we are having universal healthcare projects and programs which gives a bit of relief in healthcare management.
Yes.
And NHIF is also another aspect that is being strengthened. And so we like now in Marsabit, we are pushing and other marginalized counties for this during the red alert period of drought. We are trying to push for NHIF to cover most people because they can't even afford to pay their 500 shillings. Yeah. Yet diseases because of malnutrition are rampant.
Is it forthcoming?
Yeah, through the steering group, we are pushing for that so that more funds are committed to support NHIF cover. Yeah, so food, in terms of food security, looking, going forward, we should not depend on rain-fed agriculture.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should have, mega dams where irrigation can take
even
place.
The president said that he's planning to do 100 dams.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good strategy. We need to put mega dams in place. And countries from which we import fruits, like Egypt, most of them are deserts. Like where I come from. Yeah. And they irrigate and they produce a lot for their own consumption and for export. And I don't see why, as a country, we can't do the same and turn our desert into greeneries. Yeah, and be able to feed our people. Actually, it's a shame if a country can't feed its people and can't also and can't also respond to a disaster like we are experiencing now. So we hope, and I was encouraged to see the Office of the President seriously engaged right to the grassroots in terms of ensuring things are moving and moving fast. So let's hope and pray that...
Is there hope for this country from the face of a commission?
There is hope. I've told you we have come a long way. We have institutions like mine that is actually fearlessly and, confidently.
When you talk of KNCR, we've had people, the likes of Senator Hassan Omar, who passed through that.
Yes. We still have the same kind of cause. We need also to change our strategy.
Yes.
We don't have to be. You don't have to be. It's not. Shouldn't have to be. We don't have to be in a conflict situation.
Right.
But diplomatically, consistently, and persistently. We have to engage duty bearers and point them out through our report, which even goes to UN, that we have intervened in this way and engaged duty bearers for this change to occur in terms of human rights violation. But it hasn't happened. So I think I would want to encourage more diplomatic engagement and intervention. But the government also now has to realize we are dealing with an enlightened population.
Exactly.
We have more educated people who know their right.
Because of 7 generations.
Yes, and part of our responsibility as a commission is working with the education institution through curriculums where we ensure that young children are exposed to awareness of their right early enough in their life through curriculum, through school curriculum. We're also working with universities to ensure their university education covers human rights. Because long time ago, people come to university, that's when they hear human right, and they start saying haki yetu.
Exactly.
They start jumping around with posters. But we should train our young people to be aware of their rights early enough and to be able to push for their rights.
Okay. I want us to talk about the issue of our friends, the international community. It's a universal issue right now. The drought situation. The skyrocketing kind of situation, food security. Everything is expensive. What is the international community saying at this particular situation? Of course, now I'm so sure you are in contact with our friends across the borders.
Yes, there are humanitarian agencies that are always in place to support where there is need. Like in Marsabit, one unfortunate incident is migrants from Ethiopia. I know that's not the only border where we are having migrants coming through, but in a very distressed situation, migrants are coming in and they are completely, in distress. So the population to which they are coming is also distressed. They have nothing. And they are also coming with all their challenges. So the humanitarian agencies now, like UNHCR, Red Cross, and others coming into play to support the government. The government also, both the national and the county government, will also undertake their obligation of supporting with also civil society to support the local communities. That is also in distress. But climate change is a universal challenge. And the earlier we address the issues of environmental degradation and other factors that has brought us where we are, the better.
Yeah.
So, of course, the war in Ukraine has affected everything in the globe. It has affected everyone. And the traditional partners who are giving donations are no longer,
everybody's now gone back to their own spaces.
Yes, so they are no longer available as they should. So it's now for everybody to take care of their own issues. So that is why, as a country, we need to reflect and look at our own internal strength and look at our own challenges and strategize on the best way of overcoming our own issues.
Okay, Commissioner, I'm told you're running out of time, but I will have to ask you this one. Marsabit is so close to your heart.
Yes.
Something in terms of human rights violation, the drought situation there, and as a citizen, how would you describe that in just one sentence? And what are you going to do next to just change the lives of people there?
Yeah, I think Marsabit, as you have said, you've always had tragedy one after another.
Exactly.
I'm one of the victims. I lost my late husband in a peace mission.
Sorry for that.
Yes.
Sorry for that.
And the government has a duty and obligation to safeguard peace and security and to also safeguard its borders to guarantee peace and security. And also the drought situation like we're having now, it has happened. The government has capacity to predict drought and floods as they happen. Not only for Marsabit, but the whole country. They have a picture of what projections are there. So we need to plan in advance, cut down on our corruption, index.
Yes.
And try to put more funds into putting things right for the marginalized and the vulnerable groups. Like the majority population of the ASAL areas.
Okay. Now, and finally, I will have to ask you this one. There are 4 police officers who are now under police custody for the forceful disappearances, the extrajudicial killings, and I'm so sure as a commission, you're also directly in touch with this one. I don't know, what's your take on this?
Yeah, right to life is one key, is a key right of every individual. No one has the powers extrajudicially to take anybody's life.
And forcefully, exactly.
Yeah, and forcefully. So I think with the right investigation, effectively, the government should pursue the matter. As a commission, we'll add our voice to the rest of our stakeholders and partners that the rights of the people who have been affected is justice should be done. But of course, through proper investigation, the police also have their right. So we shouldn't just jump to conclusion. The police also have their rights. The victims also have their right. But with proper investigation and the effective justice system, we should be able to say never again.
Never again.
Yeah, we should never
have. When you look at the people who are accused, people who are directly on the front line, are the same people who are mandated to save lives.
Yes.
And when you look at it was on yesterday's papers, the number of people who have died, 112 of them.
Yes.
In the hands of police. That's according to IPOA and other investigative agencies.
Yes.
As Human Rights Commission, I don't know what is going to be your voice on this.
Yes, we also have the obligation to do research into all this.
Yes.
We also have our own report on most of these occurrences. So we need to get to the bottom of this and to be able to say never again.
Never again.
Because it's something that shouldn't have happened. Because the police has a duty to protect lives and property. And anything else is not within their code of conduct and responsibility.
Commissioner, your final words as you come to an end.
Yeah, I think my final word would be to the government that the current situation of drought in the country is very dire. It's not situation as usual, it is unusual. So the government should prepare We are not even sure whether the next rain season will be...
Nobody's aware.
Nobody we don't know. So we should be more prepared. Of course, donors are not also as readily available as they used to be. So as a government, we need to take responsibility, actually put every other thing on the side, all the other developmental issues, and be able to focus on this to save life and the livelihood of Kenya.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Commissioner, thank you so much. Okay. And I just believe that and hope that at the end of the day, all of us will have to get justice as far as drought and human rights are concerned.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to the show. All right, we'll be speaking to Honorable Sarah Bonaya, who is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. We've just been talking matters to do with the drought situation, which is now ravaging the bigger part of the country based on the drought. And correctly put, many people are now at risk of losing their lives and livelihoods. All right, that's where we wrap it up. Let's take a break. When we come back, Doreen Arange has got an amazing story. This month has been World Cancer Awareness Month. Are you aware of your situation? All right, Doreen Arange has got more answers to that. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Been married for 300 years and you're still not pregnant. Shouldn't I be concerned?
When I return, I'll have someone who can restore your brother's health. Thank you, my lord.
It's been a while since I've had that dream. What's going on?
Is there any way to speed up Maz's recovery?
Are you telling me you want him to wake up sooner?
If you wish to pay me a formal visit again, you need to bathe, pray, and burn incense for 3 days, and you need to kneel and kowtow for 9 times.
Tell me, what's the problem? Talk to me.
I want to be left alone. Can you do that?
Leo yuko wapi?
Nishakwambia mimi sijui Leo yuko wapi. Ama nataka mimi nikamtoe wapi?
Siwezi kutumwa na soja. Gatesman, gate collector.
Kwa muonekano wa sura zako, huna furaha.
Nini sasa? Hadi ni kiburi gani hicho wanionyesha wewe?
Wala zote na salamu zimfikie Hashimu mwenye cheo kwa karimu kushinda viumbe.
Shetani hatokudanganya tena, hatokughuri shetani, hatokupoteza shetani. Madamu umetoka katika nyumbani kwako ukasoma hiyo dua, bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allahi wala haula wala quwwata illa billah.
Na yale ambayo binadamu anafaa kuwa nayo ili aweze kuingia katika pepo ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ni kuwa mtu mwenye kutekeleza vitendo vyema na kutubia madhambi yake.
وبحجبها بتتباهى يا طاقة نور ما فيش منها والسر جمالها جواها.
What a moment in his life. All force, all will. Vlaar for the Netherlands. Saved by Romero. And so, Maxi Rodriguez, who scored in Argentina's last World Cup penalty shootout 8 years ago in Berlin. It's in, and Argentina are real bound. The South American World Cup has a South American finalist after all. The American arm must roll out its red carpet for its most rivalrous visitors of all.
Welcome back to the program. You're still on Good Morning Kenya. We continue our pace with our day's conversation. And knowing that October is normally set aside for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we want to look at some of those milestones that have been achieved since 1985 when it was first marked as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We also look at some of those interventions that have been made, as well as some of those gaps that still exist when it comes to alleviate the burden that is cancer, particularly breast cancer. My guests are here. I call them our heroes this Wednesday morning. They are cancer survivors. They'll be walking us through their journey, how it has been since when they were diagnosed with a disease that is cancer up to when they were declared cancer-free. To my extreme left, that is Johaden Waithera, who, as I mentioned, is our hero this Wednesday morning, a cancer survivor. Right next to her is Susan Washeke, who is also one of those our heroes. We call her a cancer survivor. Karibu to the program, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Let me start with you, Washeke.
Yes.
I mean, since 1985, that was the first day we actually, first month, of October, when we marked Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
Ukiangalia kutoka huo wakati mpaka sasa, kwa mtazamo wako, tumepiga hatua gani kulingana na hili swala la cancer?
Yes, as you have heard, my name is Susan Washeke kutoka Kandara. Kitambo kabla sijagonjeka nilikuwa nimesikia mambo ya kansa, but mpaka wakati sasa ilikuwa ni mimi ndio niliona kumbe it's something that is so serious, it's not something that is simple. So me, I have seen progress, because a long time we've heard of people who have been dying, people who cannot afford the treatment, but now I can see there's a big and very big improvement that we have doctors who are taking about the care of cancer. Yes.
So you're saying that 37 years later, we are good.
You are very good. Mko vizuri, but kuna vitu sasa kutoka sasa hapa tutaongea ili mfanye vizuri kabisa.
Exactly.
Thank
and that's
you.
why we have you here. Tunasema tuongelee kuhusu hili swala la janga la cancer. Si ndio? Saratani.
Yes, saratani, yes.
Waithera, kwa mtazamo wako, 37 years later, especially kama nchi, tumepiga hatua gani kukaba janga la cancer?
Kama vile umesema, majina ni Jordan Waithera. Niseme ni at least, sio kama zamani, juu mumejaribu. Kwangu sikukuwa nimejua kuhusu kansa. Wakati nilisikia mmoja wa familia ameaga, alikuwa wa karibu, hapo nilisikia kweli kuna ugonjwa wa saratani. Lakini kwa saa hii watu adhiriwa wengi, lakini kwa upande wenu mumejaribu sana, na tunashukuru, na kazi yenu ni njema. Asante.
Unasema kama nchi, serikali imejaribu. Tueleze, wakati ulikuwa diagnosed na cancer, ilikuwa mwaka gani na ulichukulia vipi?
Ilikuwa safari mrefu. Juu mara ya kwanza nilifanyiwa test 2012, wakaniambia hakuna, iko upande wa breast right. 2015 second time wakasema hakuna, 2016 biopsy wakaniambia niko na kansa stage 3B. Ilikuwa surprise. Sikuwa nimetegea hivyo. Ilikuwa siku ngumu sana, lakini kupitia maombi Mwenyezi Mungu alinipea nguvu. So nashukuru Mungu amenitoa mbali mpaka pale nimefika. Lakini niseme hata ikiwa ni safari mrefu, inakuwa mrefu kwangu, bwana yangu, familia, vile niligonjeka walisimama na mimi.
Na tutakuja kwa hilo swala la familia hapo mbeleni, tuone pia support system inakuwa vipi kutoka kwa familia, kutoka kwa marafiki. Lakini umesema hii ilikuwa 2016, ilikuwa stage 2
3B.
Stage 3B. Na the first time ulikuwa diagnosed ilikuwa 2012. I mean the first time ulienda for test ilikuwa 2012, then 2015 hawakupata kitu. Kwa hivyo 2016 unajua ilikuwa isha advance kidogo. So hapa 2012 na 2015 nini haswa ilikuwa inafanyika kwamba hawapati kitu ndio kuja wapate pale 2016 kama ishakuwa imekula mwili kabisa?
Asante. Nilikuwa nasikia mwili yangu haina nguvu. Maumivu kidogo, kichwa, mgongo, tumbo. Nikasikia matiti moja iko na kakitu. Nikaamua kwenda kwa hospitali. Nikaenda hospitali.
Ni 2012 sasa.
2012. Wakachunguza, wakaniambia nifanyiwe mammogram. Ndio mammogram wakasema hawaoni kitu lakini kuna kamawe kadogo. Nikaenda hospitali, hapo ndio nilianza safari. Wakaniambia watafanya FNA, bila walitoa wakasema hakuna kitu. Na nikashukuru na nikafurahia, nikasema mimi sina ugonjwa. Na nikaendelea tu na maisha. Lakini ikafika tena nikasikia kuna kitu tena.
Sasa hapa tuko 2015.
2015. Nilikuwa mwezi wa 10 nikasema Juni mwezi wa 10 nasema nitaenda. Nikaenda. Daktari kuangalia akaniambia anasikia mawe. Tulikuwa tumetu ndogo 2012. Vile ilidungwa hivi ikaungana ikakuwa kimawe kimoja. Hapo ndio nilienda tena mammogram. Daktari akaniambia hiyo mawe lazima ifanyiwe biopsy. Kaenda hospitali, kafanyiwa biopsy. Kapelekwa lab. Wakaniambia hakuna kansa. Labda iko ndani imejificha. Nikashindwa inaweza jificha kweli. Daktari akaniambia inaweza jificha lakini kwetu hatujui. Lakini wakukuwa akisema kansa ugonjwa mbaya. Hakuniambia kansa. Lakini vile aliniambia ugonjwa mbaya nikajua huyu daktari ananipea mimi nguvu.
Na wakati ulikuwa ushajua kuna ugonjwa kama kansa?
Nilikuwa nasikia lakini sikuwa nimejua sana. Lakini vile daktari ananiambia ugonjwa mbaya, nikamuuliza ugonjwa mbaya gani? Ma'am, ugonjwa wa kansa. Tuseme pahali nilitokea kwa madaktari mimi, Mungu alinipea kibali. Nilikuwa natokea kwa madaktari kona roho safi sana. Na ninawaombea Mungu awabariki sana. Juu si rahisi kupata mtu akona roho safi na kuongelea vizuri, hataki wewe urudi chini lakini anakuinua.
Well said. Susan, naona ukiagree sana Waithera akiongea. Kwako ilikuwa vipi? When was the first time ulikuwa diagnosed na cancer? Mwaka gani na ulichukulia vipi?
Yangu ilikuwa 2019, but ilikuwa safari mrefu kabla wagundue ati ni cancer. So it was 2019 on July wakati nilienda medical Thika. Nilienda kutibiwa, nilikuwa na uterus, shida ya uterus. Vile nilikuwa nafanya kazi mahali nilikuwa nafanya home care retreat center ya Karen ada Jude Bugwa. So wakati nilikuwa nafanya kazi vile kutengeneza vitanda and preparing the rooms for the people who are coming to pray, so nikasikia tu nimeumwa hapa kwa tumbo, nikashindwa na kusimama. So nikakaa for 3 days kama nimerest. Then after 1 week nikaenda kwa clinic ya Karen medical clinic. Nikaenda wakaniambia maybe ni appendix yangu iko na shida. So nikapatiwa dawa for 2 weeks. Nikakunywa nikasikia bado ndio hata naendelea kusikia naumia. So nikapigia one of the doctors ako Thika level 5 na alikuanga fellowship member wa kanisa ambayo nilikuwa nashiriki hapo kitambo, Full Gospel Churches of Kenya huko Githumu. So nikampigia akaniambia, Susan, haufai kuwa ati umeenda kukunywa dawa. Instead, hii kitu inafaa ufanye kitu kama blood test ama upigwe picha. Juu ni vitu ambazo ziko na ndani. So akaniambia niende huko Thika level 5, nikaenda nikapigwa picha. Daktari akaniambia inakaa ni fibroids niko nayo. Hizo fibroids zilikuwa kubwa. So nikatolewa hizo fibroids na nikatolewa mpaka uterus.
After 2019.
Hiyo ni 2019 July August there. So then on September nikarudi huko tena. After now nimeheal. Siku moja niliamka nikasikia hii mguu yangu ya left imefura, siwezi hata kanyanga chini. So when I was coming out of bed, nikaita watoto wangu nikawaambia, hey, mi vile nimeona siwezi kanyanga chini. So vile niliangalia mguu hivi nikaona imefura, hata siwezi tembea. So my children were so scared. Sasa wakanishikilia nikaenda sitting room. Kwenda sitting room wakaniambia, hapana, hii mama hatutanyamazia, wacha tuende hospitali ukaangaliwa ni nini. Vile nilienda hospitali kawa tena ni blood clot. So nikalazwa for 5 days, alafu I was discharged.
Kwa kila wakati ukienda walikuwa nakwambia kitu different?
Kitu different. So nikatibiwa hiyo blood clot from August until November. November tena, after sasa nimepona hiyo blood clot, hii mguu ingine ikawa anemic. Nikaamka siku moja, kila mwili niko na spots za black. Kwenda hospitali nikaambiwa I'm anemic na nahitaji mpaka damu. So nikalazwa tena hospitali Thika level 5 for 2.5 weeks. After the treatment, kama naendelea now with the treatment, nikasikia on my left breast, nikaguza kakitu nikasikia, kalikuwa tu kathundo kidogo hivi, akalamp. So nikasikia hii si kawaida. In my senses I felt sio kawaida. Vile daktari alikuwa anakuja around na nurses wenye wanatrainiwa, nikamwambia, hey doc, nasikia niko na kakitu kwa matiti. Akaiguza, nikaona wameangaliana, but akaniambia sasa vile utafanya, utatibiwa hii kwanza, hii anemic, then after tutaona ni nini hiyo ingine. So on November 7th ndio sasa ali break the news. Akaniambia sasa nikarudi nyumbani sasa. Nikakumbuka sasa around November kuna vile daktari aliniambia hii kitu ingine tutaangalia. So nikaambia watoto wangu, we wacha tuende tukaangalia hii kitu, juu nasikia ako kakitu kana grow. So we went back to Thika. This time it was February 20th. Nikaenda February 20th 2020. So nikaenda nikatafuta huyo daktari, nikamuuliza, doksi uliniambia tutaangalia hiyo maneno ingine. Akanituma kwa daktari mwingine. Vile alienda akaniguza, akaniambia sasa hii kitu vile nasikia, wacha uende upigwe picha alafu ukuje na results. Nikaenda, akaniambia niende nipigwe mammogram. Vile nilienda kupigwa mammogram, it was around hii season ya corona. Kwa hivyo Thika level 5 walikuwa wamefungiwa juu kulikuwa na patients ambao walikuwa na corona, kwa hivyo hatukuwa tunatibiwa at that time. Na huyo daktari alikuwa amefungiwa juu alikuwa anatibu kwa hiyo ward by then. So mimi nikatumwa Mary Help, iko tu hapo Thika, it's a Catholic hospital. Wakati nilienda kwa hiyo daktari akaniambia ni kabisa uko na hii ni cancer hii.
Sasa hii
2020 he broke that news in a very open way that I never expected. Juu nimepitia mambo mingi, maugonjwa ingine, then amebreak tu hiyo at once. So I called my sister, nikamwambia imekuwa hivi na hivi, sasa sijui nitafanya aje. Na akaniambia ukuje after 2 weeks tutoe hiyo kitu. See, now it's a private hospital. Nikasikia sasa, nimesikia uoga mingi sana. Nikarudi nyumbani nikatafuta one of the fellowship members, alikuwa anaitwa Grace. Nikamuita nikamwambia sasa hii safari ni kubwa sana na hii nimekuwa hii maugonjwa imeenda mention, I mean it has been named so many names. Sasa imetoka blood, imetoka uterus to blood clot, from blood clot to anemia. This one sasa it has broken my heart, sasa ni cancer. Akaniambia saa vile nitafanya, tutaomba pamoja, but vile nitafanya nitakutafutia mtu mwenye ni survivor. So she called one of the patient ambaye alikuwa anaenda through the treatment, alikuwa anaitwa Christine. So Christine called me back, akaniambia hii sio kitu ya kuogopa sana, inafaa tuongee na nitakutuma kwa daktari fulani. So akanipea namba ya Dr. Ojuka ambaye ako Kenyatta. Akanipea appointment na nikaenda kwa Ojuka, akaenda akaniambia utapigwa picha hii na hii alafu ulete results. Vile nilienda kwake akaniambia ni kabisa iko na ni stage 1. So Dr. Ojuka akanifanyia operation, that is 2021 January 15th ndio nilifanyiwa hiyo operation. Yes, so nimeenda through the treatments, nimemaliza. Yes.
Up until now they declared you as cancer free.
Yes.
Na tutaongelelea hiyo journey, but before that let me come to you Waithera very quickly. Hiyo treatment process, na ukisikia tu venye pia Susan anasema kwamba it's one of those very heavy burdens. Ni burden kubwa sana. Kwanza ukiangalia mahali ambapo daktari anakuambia ni hii ugonjwa mwaka wa kwanza, hii ugonjwa mwaka wa pili, then unakuja unapata sasa ni cancer. Treatment process for you ilikuwa vipi?
Asante. Niseme wakati niliambiwa ni kansa, nilistuka sana. Tulikuwa na mtoto wangu, my daughter. Na tulikuwa Kenyatta. Na huyu daktari vile alitueleza na mtoto wangu, aliniambia kama ni ugonjwa mbaya, tutatoa hiyo matiti. Akaniuliza unazaa? Hapana. Kuna mtoto mdogo ananyonya? Hapana. Aliniambia tutakutibu na utapona. Na tumetibu wengi na sasa wako cancer free. Yenyewe
kwa alikuwa anakuencourage.
Yenyewe huyo Dr. Mwangi hata mimi kama ningejua kwake ningeenda nimwambie Mungu akubariki. So nikarudi nyumbani, akaniambia nikuje January 2017, mgomo ikaingia. Safari ikakuwa sana ni gumu zaidi. So tukatafuta hospitali, familia wakashikana ndio nipate matibabu. Na tukaanza safari watoto wangu na bwana yangu. Nikaambia sister mmoja Iniro anaitwa Rusi Wayaki. Yeye alikuwa kiangifa sana wakati wa chemotherapy. Akaniambia usijari, tutashikana na safari itakuwa nyepesi. Tukaanza safari. Tukatafuta hospitali, nikaingia Texas, juu kulikuwa na mgomo Kenyatta. Ni wakasanya pesa, nikaenda surgery. Wakati ulikuwa mgumu sana. Juu kusikia unaingia theater, fanyiwe surgery, utorewe matiti, na vile nikikuangalia hivi kwa smart, na mimi nikajiangalia nikashindwa itakuwa hivyo kweli. Na my sister kaniambia usijare, sister Iniro, usijare, safari tutatembea. Kanishikilia na huyo my daughter na tena maombi. Kaniambia lazima tuombe. Na huo wakati wote tulikuwa tunaingia hospitali, huo sister Iniro alikuwa ananiambia kwanza ni maombi. Tukaanza safari, kafanywa surgery, mastectomy. Ni wakati wa kutoka hospitali nikatoka. Kufika home, kuingia kliniki, Dr. anaitwa Simon Maina. Akaniambia sasa ni chemotherapy. Sister Iniro akanamwambia ndio.
Just hold it there. Get up kidogo takuja kwako. But I want us to cross over to Kisumu County, where our very own Wycliffe Okech is on standby there, and this is in respect to the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, which is holding a conference there. Wycliffe, prime us the very latest from that end.
Professor Nyong will come here. I don't know what you will do with him.
Wycliffe, if you can hear me, what?
Well, a very good morning to you, Doreen, back in Nairobi. We are, of course, coming to you live from the lakeside city of Kisumu here. Like I don't know if you can be able to see from the background here. This is the registration process for the conference that is kick-starting or rather getting underway today. It's a 3 days conference being held in Kisumu for the consulting engineers under the umbrella Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya. Kenya. And like you can see from behind here, the various guests continue to arrive here for the registration, and thereafter this is the point for registrations. When moving from here, they go straight into the conference hall here. And Doreen, without taking much time, I'm just going to engage the leadership of the ASEC. ASEC is the abbreviation for the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya. I'm going to engage the leadership to tell us what exactly do we expect from this conference. Who are those that we expect to grace this occasion? We understand that the county governor, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, will be part of this conference. And just on that point, Doreen, I'm going to engage the ASEC chair, Engineer Patrick Wambulwa, to share with us just a few insights into this conference. Wambulwa, good morning, and thank you for making time for us. We are live on KBC on our Good Morning show. And just quickly, can you share with us what do we expect from this conference and why is it being held in Kisumu?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. This conference is about infrastructure development. We have entitled it Rethinking and Reshaping Infrastructure Development Priorities in Africa. We chose infrastructure because it is critical to the socio-economic development of our country and the regions like the Lake Basin Development Region and indeed the entire East African continent. The discussions will be focusing on what are the gaps in meeting the infrastructure development needs of the country. We have participants from county governments, state corporations, government ministries, contractors, consultants. The people attending are not only engineers, but all people that participate in matters of infrastructure development. Out of this conference, we expect resolutions that will go into the programs that the government will run on to help infrastructure development in the country. Thank you.
How many people do you expect from probably from to attend this conference? What's the size of the delegation?
Roughly, we are expecting around 500 people. Maybe 300 people will be here physically and 200 will be joining us virtually. We will also have presentations from outside the country. We expect a presentation from Australia and South Africa. We have participants from South Sudan, and our neighboring countries, Tanzania and Uganda, will be joining us virtually. Yeah, thank you.
What do we expect as the guest of honor for the conference?
The guest of honor is going to be Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, the governor of Kisumu. Coming into Kisumu, we wanted to be closer to the county governments, and the closing of the conference will also be done by a governor, the governor of Kakamega. Thank you. Yeah.
Probably just the last question for you. Yes. What are some of the emerging issues in so far infrastructure is concerned? What are some of the existing gaps that probably you'll be looking to seek solutions to?
The biggest challenge in infrastructure development is the issue of financing. Many times there is not enough budget to meet the financial needs, but also there is the struggle of priority. Which project do we do first and which one is more important than the other? So these are the questions that will be put on the floor for discussion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Doreen, let me just get the Secretary General for ASEC, Engineer Jen. Jen, if you can just stand here and talk to us about some of the issues, the specific issues that we expect to discuss during the 3 days conference here in Kisumu. What are the specific tenets of this conference?
Thank you very much. As we said, this is first of all our first ASEC conference. We hope to have an annual conference every year. What we are going to discuss today is everything infrastructure. Infrastructure is actually the enabler of the socio-economic developments everywhere. So we are going to be we're going to be discussing water and sanitation. We are going to be discussing energy. We are going to be discussing environmental, because social development should not impact negatively on our environment. We are going to be discussing matters engineering and education. We are going to be discussing, we are consulting engineers, so we'll also be discussing issues concerning the engineering as a profession or as a business. those are some of the issues we'll be having.
The whole spectrum of infrastructure is quite wide, and looking at Kisumu, that is hosting this year's conference, you find that Kisumu is big in rice production, and that means irrigation is one of the issues to be concerned. I don't know if irrigation will feature prominently in the course of your deliberations here.
Yes, it will. We have a session that is water, sanitation and irrigation. We shall be discussing that, but more importantly, next year we have the same conference. We'll be holding it in Eldoret, and that will be on engineering food security. So on that, next year we'll delve into the irrigation and food security in depth. So that will be dealt with next year. But today, yes, we are discussing that in one of the sessions. Yeah.
What is the specific, which theme is, sub-theme rather, is informing your conference today? What will be the major topic?
We don't have a major topic. All the topics we are going to discuss are major. As I said, we have about 8 sessions, and each of those 8 sessions is actually being discussed because each of the sessions has something to do with the infrastructure. So we have the water in itself, but we have the infrastructure now for the water. We have energy. Energy is a net product, but what is the infrastructure for that? So every topic you are discussing is actually a sub-theme by itself. Yep.
Thank you so much, Engineer Jen. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. I'll get to engage you later on here. Well, Doreen, that has been the leadership of ASEC. ASEC, like I told you, that is the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, that are holding a 3-day conference starting today that will run all through to Friday. And just a number of issues will be expected to be discussed in the course of this conference. Like we've heard them mention that the entire the whole spectrum of infrastructure is quite wide, and quite a number of sub-themes will be covered during that process, and also the existing gaps in the infrastructure development spectrum, and they will be looking to seek solutions to those gaps. Well, we'll be here for the 3 days and noting every remark that will be made here, and we'll also cover the sub-sections that will be discussed in the process here, and we'll compile a very comprehensive story in our subsequent bulletins. Of course, we'll be getting live updates, periodical updates in the course of this conference, and our viewers should be expecting that. Well, that has been it for now. Let me just hand it back to you in studio, Doreen.
Well said, Wycliffe, and thank you so much for that. Of course, just as you've mentioned, we'll be linking up with you to get more details on what will be panning out in this particular conference. And a good place to take a quick breather here in studio. When we circle back, we continue with this conversation in respect to matters cancer. Stay put.
The legends and familiar charms will grace KBC once again.
Your entire personality is built around your bottoms. Wiggle it just a little bit. So now young ladies don't even want their age mates anymore.
Wanatafuta wababa.
Sasa wababa.
Sasa wanaharibu
kama mubaba yuko na school fees.
Kila mtu anataka kuwa na Bentley.
There are serious things now around surgery. Wrong, yes. And then the idiotic, your bottom line is, your song is so bad that to make people interested in it, you have to
use your backside
again.
Yes. You see, where are the brains?
Yes.
Where are the
hidden somewhere near the bottom?
The world's biggest sporting event is here with us. The FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar. KBC Television will air live 28 selected matches, while radio will beam live all the 64 matches. We would like to bring to the attention of the public that KBC is the only station that has exclusive 2022 FIFA World Cup free-to-air FTA broadcast rights for both TV and radio in the Kenya territory, and no other media outlet. Therefore, catch all the FIFA World Cup action live and exclusive on KBC TV and radio. KBC is indeed your true sports partner.
Gonna be sticking around every tomorrow.
Welcome back to the program, and we appreciate your valued company. We continue with our conversation surrounding cancer, being Cancer Awareness Month. Still holding court with my guests. That is Johad and Waithera to my extreme left, and right next to her is Susan Washeke. Before we went that break, tulikuwa kwa Waithera kutueleza tu venye jani ya treatment ilikuwa, na hii pia tunajua ni kwamba wakati mwingi tukiongea kuhusu treatment of cancer, pesa ambayo inahitajika huwa nyingi sana na watu wengi huwa hawajiwezi. Kwa hivyo kwako ilikuwa vipi?
Asante. Kwa upande wangu ulikuwa upande mgumu sana. Nilikuwa nimetumia pesa nyingi kupitia mammogram, x-ray na rasima. Kupitia hizo ndio daktari ajue sana harisi kasi yenye wanafanya ni gani. Jua wataki kusema ni kansa na sio kansa. Inagharamia pesa mingi sana na ni very expensive. Na kitu ya kwanza vile niliambiwa ni kansa, kitu ya kwanza ni kulia. Ya pili ni kukataa. Ni kukataa. Hapana. Juu ukisikia kansa unaona kifo. Kitu ya kwanza kulia, unasema hapana, haiwezekani. Unauliza tena ni kweli, daktari anasema ni kweli. Kitu ya pili unaruhusu hope. Hiyo ugonjwa ukiwaza na mawazo yako unaona ni very expensive. Unakuwa subua kwa familia, juu hata na wao hawana pesa. Na mawazo yako haukuwa umejiandaa kutatokea kitu kama hiyo. Umesikia kitu mpya kwa mawazo yako. Unastuka. Unashindwa nitaishi au maisha yangu unaona kaa imefika mwisho. Kwangu sikuwa nimetegea nitafika 2017. Vile niliambiwa nikasa stage 3B. Nilikuwa nimeona tayari ni mwaka tu niende. Kupitia support na maombi niko sasa. Ilikuwa safari mrefu, sikuwa na pesa. Juu biopsy ya pili niliuza ng'ombe nikabaki bila. Ya kwanza nilikuwa nimeuza kondoo zangu mbili nikabaki bila. Kakuwa safari ngumu sana.
Ya kwanza ni ya
2015 niliuza kondoo zangu mbili. Nipate pesa ya biopsy na ni Kenyatta. Ya pili tena Kenyatta nikauza hata ng'ombe. Watoto wangu wakakopa pesa. Nikaenda biopsy ya pili. Very expensive na ni Kenyatta na ni hospitali ya serikali. Na NHIF haisimamii biopsy. Na ilikuwa mwezi wa 10 wakaniambia hapana. Serikali hajaruhusu watumia NHIF. Hapo safari tena tukaanza.
So kumaanisha pesa yote yenye utatumia kwa matibabu ni kwa mfuko yako?
Ni kwa mfuko yangu. Na kuomba familia. Ikafika sasa ni kuingia kwa mastectomy surgery. Hapo tena ni kazi ingine. Mimi kwangu vile nilisikia 150,000 machozi niliasa kwa daktari. Sister Iniru akanisikiria, dusi wa yake. Akaniambia, ria kwanza, alafu twende. Nikaria nikamaliza. Daktari akaniambia hiyo tutafanya. Akanipea support na kuniongelesha. Tukaanza safari. Safari mrefu. Hata kwa nyumba ukiingia hivi, kitu ya kwanza ukiona nyumba yako ni machozi. Juu unashindwa, Mungu aliona hii. Ukasema Mungu uliona na unajua. Kitu ya pili ni vile unahitaji ukure na una pesa. ilikuwa gharama kubwa sana. Nashukuru Mungu alinipea mtu wa kusimama na mimi kwa upande wa matibabu. Kuniongeleshea, aliniongeleshea ndio niweze kupauru kwa matibabu. Nikasa safari. Ni safari gumu. Pesa yenye nilikuwa nayo ikaisha. Kasa kuomba. Hii ugonjwa huwezi toboa peke yako. Lazima uwe na support.
Okay. Na tutakuja kwa hiyo part ya diet kidogo tu tukisonga mbele. Lakini kwako Susan, tumewasikia story nyingi na hata Waithera anatueleza hapa. Wagonjwa wengi wa kansa kama si shamba mtu atauza, ni ng'ombe utauza, ni fundraiser utatafuta. Zingine unapata kwamba uwezi ukatutiwa hapa nchini mpaka uende kule nje. Kwako ilikuwa vipi in terms of how the treatment was for you, na NHIF ili play a part?
Yes, asante. Kwangu it was a shock. Juu sasa mimi am a widow and a mother of 3. So wakati nimebreakiwa hiyo news, niliona kifo mbele yangu. Sasa nikashindwa nitaenda kwa nani. Thank God sasa kwa hiyo Christine niliongea juu yake. Wakati nilienda kwa daktari, aliniambia kuna NHIF huwa inasaidia. So vile NHIF aliniambia inalipanga kiwango. So nikashindwa, now I'm unemployed, nyumba ni ya kurent, kwa familia yangu sasa hawawezi, mama ni mtu askari, high blood pressure, baba yangu ni jobless. Sasa will I break the news to them? So nikaona sister yangu mmoja mwenye alini support ndiye alikuja. Akakuja tukaenda na yeye, akaambiwa vile budget iko sasa na yeye hawezi. Juu wakati huo ndio alikuwa saa hiyo ndio ameolewa na ana kazi mzuri ati sana. So mi vile nilisikia kwangu, wacha niende prayer center. Sasa hii mambo wacha niipeleke tu mbele ya Mungu. Nikaenda for a prayer center for 1 week. Nikaenda nikaomba na nikasikia Mungu ameninenea, I am with you. So nikarudi, nikakuja tena, nikaenda kwa daktari. Vile nilienda kwa daktari, ndiye hata alinisaidia kujaza hiyo fomu ya NHIF. Na ile hospitali alinipeleka at Gardens, kumbe hata Mungu ametumana huko. Ile budget ilikuwa imepeanwa ya 300,000 ikareduciwa kidogo.
Kwa hivyo huu wakati bado uko unajua kuhusu NHIF?
Sikuwa najua
hata huko umecontribute anything,
hata siku hata fare ya kufika huko hali nikamsiku, ni my sister alinisimamia. Juu sasa unajua juu ya hizo treatment zingine sikuwa na chochote. So tukaenda, daktari akaniambia atanisaidia vile hao wataongea na hao madaktari ili nifanyiwe hiyo operation. Yangu ilifanyiwa before chemotherapy. So nikafanyiwa hiyo, nikapona, then nikaendelea na kimo. Hiyo dawa ilikuwa kali sana. So nikaenda kimo, nikaenda radiotherapy. Sasa kwa kulipa malipo, NHIF hata ukilipiwa kuna zile pesa wanakuambia ongeza. So hii pesa ya kuongeza ndio ilikuanga shida kwangu. So I talked to my fellow church members, I talked to friends. Kuna wengine waliguzwa wananinunulia matunda, kuna mama mwingine aliguzwa alikuwa analeta unga. So it was by the grace of God that I went through that. You can imagine being unemployed, uko kwa nyumba ya rent, hauna kazi, una watoto hapo. I thank God for my children because like my son alikuwa tu nimelala kwa kitanda hapo kwa miguu ameniwekelea mikono, so he was always interceding. Na yeye msichana wangu Mungu alimtumia sana kuingia huko ndani atafute hiyo NHIF watu wa kusaidia. Mungu akaniconnect na madaktari ambao wananielezea vile mtu anafanyanga. That was it and it was very difficult. Yes.
Na msichana ako hapa? Msichana
ako hapa.
Amekuja na wewe?
Wameni support sana. It is a blessing to have children, hata wenye wanasikiza. Una imagine sasa ukiwa widow na mtoto wako ndiye anakusaidia. Wewe ndiye unafaa umsaidie lakini ni yeye anakusaidia. Kwa hivyo hata yeye kwa mtoto anajimaliza yenye ako nayo. Kwa hivyo that was a sacrifice. May God bless them.
Yeah. And we praise and thank God for that.
We thank God. We thank God. We thank God.
Na supportive family, sindio?
Yes, yes.
Now, fast forward, Nantanza na wewe Waithera. diagnosed with cancer, all those tests ulifanyiwa hawapati, mpaka mwisho akakuja kupata 2016 ukaanza treatment na umetwalk journey yako ya treatment vile imekuwa. Haijakuwa journey rahisi. Swala la pesa kwa inakuwa jambo gumu sana when it comes to treatment of cancer. But ilifikia wapi kwamba hii treatment yote, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, ikafika mahali sawa madaktari wakasema sasa uko cancer free, sasa uko sawa? Ilikuwa mwaka gani?
Nilianza hii safari 2012 kama vile nimesema. 2015, 2016 ikakuwa worse. 2017 nikaanza matibabu, lakini bwanangu alinisikilia saidi, kukopa pesa, kujaribu kulipa, akishindwa anapigia wengine simu. Juu lazima ugonjwa ukitembea naye uwe unasumbua watu na wengine wanakuita sumbua. Lakini kupitia watoto wangu walisimama na mimi sana. Lakini niseme ni Mungu tu. Juu mmoja aliaga last month mwezi wa 8 na alikuwa amesimama na mimi sana sana. Juu kupata mtoto ni baraka, na mtoto kusimama na wewe na kukusikiliza, na ninawaombea Mungu awabariki sana. Tena kuna mama niliingia kwa yeye, nikatumwa na mama mwingine vile alisikia niko na shida, anaitwa Madam Veronica Mwangi kutoka Red Hope. Alinisema na mimi sana upande wa NHIF. Juu vile niliingia surgery, NHIF ilisimama kidogo. Pesa nyingi tulilipa na ilibidi nilipe mwaka mzima. Hiyo mwaka mzima hakuna pesa. Nikamulelea, akanilipia 6,000. Juu kiingia kwa hospitali na NHIF ikatae kutibiwa tena ni shida ingine. Lakini nashukuru Mungu. Juu wenye wamesimama na mimi ni Mungu aliwagusa kupitia maombi. Lakini ni safari ilikuwa ngumu kwangu mimi. Juu bwanangu hana kazi, watoto hawana kazi mzuri. Na wenye unariria nao hawana kazi. Hata sister zangu, sister Inerusi, lakini walisimama na wewe. Kwa hivyo hii kwa mwaka gani ambapo ulikuwa sasa Waithera uko cancer free? Which year? Ni kama hii mwaka 2022. Kwa hivyo hii miaka yote kutoka 2016 imekuwa tu treatment, matibabu, kopa hapa na pale mpaka sasa. Mpaka sasa, lakini niko chini ya treatment ya madawa. Anastroso. Okay. Ulichukulia vipi wakati uliambiwa sasa uko cancer free? Ulifeel aje? Kwanza ukijua kwamba wakati mwingi watu tunasema cancer inaweza recur. Inaweza ilikuwa breast cancer but inaweza enda mahali kwingine, part nyingine ya mwili. So kwako ulichukulia vipi ulipoambiwa sasa Waithera uko cancer free? Breast cancer haiko tena mwilini. Nilienda last year 2021. Daktari akaniambia vile nakohoa lazima niende CT scan. Ni unajua kwa hii ugonjwa ukisikia unakohoa unastuka. Ukisikia tumbo inauma unastuka kama binadamu. Lakini unasema niko na imani na nitaishi. Nikatuma CT scan, wakaniambia hakuna kitu. Hata kwa ranks hakuna kitu. Ile kwa last year ikaenda kuisha sasa. 2021. Na nikashukuru Mungu. Nikamwambia Mungu umesikia maombi yangu. Niliambia Mungu wakati nilipata yenyewe sasa ni kansa. Nikamwambia Mungu, mimi naomba tu Mungu uponyaji kutoka kwako. Na wakati Mungu nitapata hiyo uponyaji, nitakuwa nikisikilia wengine. Na kwa saa hii nashukuru Mungu juu nasikilia wengine. Na waambia kuna Mungu mbinguni. Hata huyo Madam Veronica kutoka Red Hope, bahari yako. Na mwingine kiagifa anaitwa Shishere Mwangi. Kama last Saturday nilikuwa kwa kuomba chakula. Kaambia mimi sina unga hata ya uji. Juu tuko chini kwa saa hii. Kupata matunda na inafaa ukure balanced diet. Kupata mtu akupatia matunda ya 100 saa ni ngumu. Nikaenda kwake nikamwambia mama, mimi sina hata unga. Kaniambia kujia unga. Na kupata mtu akwambia kujia unga sio rahisi. Kwanza kwa sasa. Kwa sasa. Juu ako na watoto, ako na school fees, lakini anasimama na wewe. Na unaambia Mungu ani asante. Sister zangu nikilemewa na wapigia simu. Sina unga, wananipea. Brother in-law kwetu Rustborn alisimama na mimi sana. Niseme siwezi taja wote juu ni wengi. Na najua wengi wananiona, niwaambie Mungu awabariki sana. Na wenye wanaguswa wanasimama na wagonjwa wa kansa, Mungu awabariki sana. Ni treatment inatumia very very expensive. Na NHIF hailipi sote. Mammogram hailipi. X-ray hawalipi. Ukiingia kwa chemotherapy na unafaa uende 8 cycles, wanalipa 4. Na kati ya 4 lazima top up wengine zaidi ya 10,000, 20 na huna kitu. Mkifanya fundraising pesa zinaishia, rab na lazima ukiingia chemotherapy lazima rab kwanza, na si 1,000, ni kama 2,000. Top up, una top up.
Okay. Lakini tunashukuru Mungu kwamba sasa fadhali uko hivi cancer free mwisho wa siku. Susan, hiyo ilikuwa 2021 for Waithera.
Yes.
Kwako ilikuwa vipi wakati uliambiwa sasa uko cancer free? Kwanza ilikuwa mwaka gani na ulichukulia vipi? Na ukiangalia nyuma kwamba yote umepitia, pesa yote yenye umelipa pale hospitalini just to treat ugonjwa wa cancer.
Yangu wakati niliambiwa niko cancer free, that was last month even.
It's just 1 month old.
Yes. Nikaambiwa 3 months ago, kliniki yangu naenda after every 3 months. So for those 3 months sikuwa nimepata hata pesa hiyo ya kuenda mammogram. So 3 weeks ago ndio nilipata, sasa nikaenda. Vile nilienda on Wednesday last week ndio nilienda nikapeleka hiyo report kwa daktari. Akasoma, nilikuwa nimesoma but ni kama sielewi kabisa, niligoja nisikie hiyo testimony ya daktari. Akaniambia now I am free. Inside me nilisikia kilio ya furaha. Juu sasa hapo mtu anasikianga sasa, when you hear of cancer unaona ni kifo tu peke yako. Now you are widow, unasikia tu utaacha watoto wako wakufe kweli. So sasa nikaambiwa nimepona. Nilitoka hapo nje kwa moyo nikalia, nikaambia Mungu, nilikuahidia wakati utaniponya nijue kabisa nimepona, nitasaidia wengi. Of which even wakati hata nimekuwa through the treatment, mimi nimekuwa nikivisit watu na share yenye nimepatiwa na watu, na mimi nagawa napatia wengine wenye tunaenda safari moja. So I've been encouraging people juu ya hii safari. Imekuwa safari ngumu vile my sister amesema hapa Waithera, ni safari ambayo ni ngumu. Hiyo matunda saa ingine hauna, uko kwa diet. Hiyo treatment unaambiwa ni siku 3. Siku ya kwanza unaendanga kutolewa damu. Siku ya pili unaenda kuona daktari. Siku ya 3 unaenda chemo. Sasa you are patient na uko na safari 3 in a week uende ili upate hiyo chemo. After hiyo chemo bado unashindwa, hata hiyo transport ya kwenda nyumbani tena ni expensive. Kuna mtu hata amelemewa atahitaji Uber. Kuna mtu mwingine amelemewa lazima aende na mtu mwingine. Like me, I had to go with my daughter. Na saa hiyo alikuwa college. Kwa hivyo lazima aweke class aside, aombe ruhusa apeleke mom kwa hospitali. Unaona sasa hii kitu ina affect the whole family. My brothers and sisters pia lazima wapige simu wajue kama hiyo dawa umetokezea vizuri ama ulibeba kitu ya hivyo. Lazima, so hiyo kitu ya kansa, kila mtu ni mgonjwa kwa familia. Hiyo siku hizo 3 lazima wafuatilie. Then mimi yangu siku nyamaza, niliambia mpaka watu wa kanisa. Wengine wakaweka kwa WhatsApp, wakatusaidia. It was organized by my first born there mwenye tumekuja na yeye. Ni yeye aliorganize hiyo kitu, hata mimi sikuwa najua. Anaambia watu, wananificha. By the time hata nilijua around the cycle ya 4 ndio nilikuwa nimejua kabisa ni yeye ameorganize. Thank you so much for the fellow church members ambao wanini support, our siblings, my brothers and sisters. My mom in prayers, huyo alifast akanisaidia sana hata kwa maombi. So it has been a journey.
Well said. Na sasa uko cancer free.
Sasa I am cancer free.
Our heroes.
Promise God. huko watu ni wagonjwa na hii kansa unajua haikuwa inajulikana kitambo, tunasikia tu watu wamekufa, baadaye unasikia ni hiyo ugonjwa, but now I know and I know what they are going through. Hata wakati wa chemo nilikuwa, hata saa hii, hata jana nilikuwa nimeenda kuchukua dawa, I have to go round mahali
so umekuwa voice of
naenda around hivyo natembea na kanyanga kama
asante
yeah,
and that's why you're here, to be that voice for the voiceless. We have to finish at this point. At this point nonetheless nawashukuru sana kukuja hapa kusema kupeana stories zenu. We don't take it lightly and we appreciate you so much, and you of course thank God that now he has healed you. You say God heals, doctors treat, eh?
Yes.
Good place to end this conversation. And just as we do here in KBC Channel 1, we are also about stories of hope, stories of uplifting, and that's all we have been about, at least for this 40 minutes, talking to our very own heroes here, cancer survivors, looking at how we can alleviate the burden that is cancer. Good place to end this conversation, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya. I'm Doreen Arange Okello on behalf of the entire team. Thank you very much. Till tomorrow, good morning.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema